Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here. Thank you for joining me for 1st of February's virtual Card A Cuppas. So this morning I was over at Home Grange and we had great fun there making cards using the kit that I had designed for the first event for this month. And I will talk you through it in about 2 seconds. I just want to make sure that I am actually live. So let me just double check. Hopefully I am. Looks like I am. Good. That's all right then. Just turn the sound off because I don't want any feedback. Anyway, so this morning, as I said, I was over at Home Grange and we did the first of this month's Card A Cuppas. And I took with me the Beautifully Happy stamp set, which is one of the stamp sets available for Sale-A-Bration. This is a photopolymer stamp set, which, as you can see, is very well loved from the colours. And this one actually is for a £90 spend, so it's free when you spend £90. Don't forget Sale-A-Bration's only on until the end of this month. And what normally happens is that for each £45 spend, you get to choose an item for free. And in addition to what is in the Sale-A-Bration brochure, Stampin' Up announced this morning that there are some additional offerings. Now, I've already put a picture of this up on Facebook. So there are actually some additional items now. So you've got a couple of kits from the kits collection. You've got ribbon, you've got various punches, decorative masks, embossing folder, and some paper. And then for another £90 spend, you could get the Eden's Garden bundle, which is stamp set and dies. So that's going to be available now until the end of the month. Please remember that everything is always whilst supplies last. And if you are going for one of the items that is now available, these can be found in like the kids collection and the various catalogues. Please use the item numbers actually on the flyer, not the ones from the catalogues. Because if you use those ones, then you will get charged, whereas these ones are, as I said, free with a £45 spend or free with a £90 spend. And you can tell from the colours of the discs on here as to which they are. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you the kit. So, you know me, or hopefully. So there was an envelope. This is sweet sorbet. So there's a sweet sorbet card base and a piece of basic white to go inside. Then there is a piece of Parakeet Party. So Sweet Sorbet and Parakeet Party are two of the 2022 to 2024 in colours. So there's those. There is this very snazzy, and I really like this, paper. Now this paper you will actually find in the mini catalogue. It's actually a host set. So this is it here. So it's 12 by 12 paper. And there's 48 sheets in it. So it's a huge pack of paper. So when you host a party or if you place your own order that comes to £150 or more, you earn these things called Stampin' Rewards. And then you can use the Stampin' Rewards to buy anything in any of the catalogues up to the value of your Stampin' Rewards. Or there are also some special discounted items. So the Flowers and More paper is actually valued at £28, but you would only use £17 in your Stampin' Rewards. If you've only put in an order of 150, then 10% of that is £15, and you can actually put the extra £2 towards it. So don't fret that if you haven't got £17 in Stampin' Rewards that you can't get it. You can actually opt to pay a little bit more. You can't go completely over the top and order a complete bundle. But you can just go slightly over, so that's not an issue. So that's the paper. There's a piece of vellum as well, and then I die cut a tag out of basic white. So I used the tailor-made tags for this, and you will find these in the annual catalogue. And there's two different sorts, so you'll find that there are ones, and they're all one's bigger than the other. So you'll find one that has the straight corners, which is the one I've used, and then there's also one with a slightly fancier edges at the top. But I chose to go with that one this time. So there are, let's see, it's 4, so that's 8. That's 10 dies in this, and these are little things that you can die cut out to then go around the holes in the paper. So those were the dies that I used to create the tags. And then the last thing is, of course, a strip of the coordinating paper that you can then glue inside the card should you want to. Of course, stamping, you can also stamp it. It's really up to you. So that was the kit. And these are the cards that I took with me as samples. So as always, I do a let's throw everything at it card. So basically, everything that's in the kit. Sometimes I put some embellishments in the kit, sometimes I don't. This time I didn't because there's too much of a choice. So I took with me the solid faceted gems, which look like this. Hopefully you can see them. And so there's various colours. I just stuck to the soft succulent sweet sorbet, and I think that's petal pink, I want to say, and there's sort of a blue which is more let's see, starry sky. So there's that as well. So people were able to choose which they wanted, so which is what we did. And then I also took with me some metallic ribbon. So this is sweet sorbet metallic ribbon. It's quite fine. It's only like 1/8 of an inch, so 3.2 millimeters wide. But it's quite nice in that you can do all sorts. So you can pull it apart, make all sorts of things. You can make the edges so that they're frayed, and it ties very cute bows as well. And obviously, the more you pull it, the tighter it will get. So for this card, it's pretty simple really. I simply glued the paper and the cardstock to the card front. The vellum kind of annoyed me a bit because it kept curling. So what I did is that you will find that probably under this one, I don't want to try and take it off, under the larger glue gems, I actually put some glue dots. So there are a couple of glue dots here, which is fine because it's hidden by the tag. But then I put one here and one there just to hold these corners down a little bit more. So I put that on at an angle. Obviously, if you prefer to have yours dead straight, that's fine. This is just an option. As I always tell everybody that comes to Card A Cuppa, I've made these how I like them. You don't have to follow them exactly. If you want to have that straight, that's fine. And then the tag. So the whole image is stamped in sweet sorbet. And then the leaves are stamped in Parakeet Party. And what I did was I stamped off first so that this is slightly lighter than the actual ink. And then similarly for the flowers. So you've got one big image, so that's one stamp. This is a second stamp. This is a third stamp, and then that's a fourth stamp. So this is two-step stamping. So you can do it in all sorts of colours. It's really up to you. And then I stamped a sentiment from the same stamp set in tuxedo black and fussy cut that out. So there's some dimensionals under here. There's a glue dot under there. But mostly it's just simply glued together with Tombow. And then I simply glued in my piece, my strip of paper, just for the inside of the card. So that was the first card, and as I said, it's my throw everything at it. So basically everything that was in the kit got put on the card. My second card, I decided that I didn't want to use the whole piece of Vellum, so I cut it down, and actually you can actually see here, so you can see where I put a glue dot underneath here. So if you use glue dots, if you use wet glue, there you will see it through the vellum. So the trick, as I said, is to make sure that where you're putting it is either under a tag or put some gems or other embellishments just to hide it. So this one, I said, I simply glued the paper to the cardstock and then to the card front, cut down some of the vellum and glue dotted that on. Again, I stamped whole-blooded sweet sorbet, stamped off my Parakeet Party, stamped off, actually no, that might be the full, that might be, actually is, that's full-blooded sweet sorbet. I forgot to stamp off. And again, a piece of basic white, I just have some scraps and I just stamped again in tuxedo black and then fussy cut that out. And then on the inside again, I put some paper. So that was my second card. My third card, I went a little bit different in that I cut the Parakeet Party cardstock up, the paper and the vellum, just to make it into a smaller rectangle. So I just simply had that as a focal point to the front of my card. But what I did differently was I then used the larger stamp, which is the outline for this. And using Sweet Sorbet ink, I did a tone-on-tone effect. So I've stamped that image numerous times. Some of them are straightforward, some of them are upside down, some of those are sideways, just so that I just had an overall coverage. Didn't need to worry about the middle too much because I was putting my rectangle there. And then rather than using the large flower from the stamp set, which I've gone and put somewhere, here we go, there it is, I used this image. So it's a much smaller flower, which fits nicely onto here. I had to fussy cut it out, but it's really not too much of a problem. And then again, I stamped off and I used the second images, so it's that one and that one, to stamp the other portions. Now I could have used this minuscule one here, so that tiny little one there is actually if you wanted to colour the stamens. But it's just as easy if you want to use a marker. And I actually just decided to leave it white. I don't mind that being white. As you can see, and then from memory, I did exactly the same on the inside too. So that was my third card. So the $64 million question now is, what am I going to do Sorry, that's the dog. And I think I'm going to do a bit of a hybrid between this and that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp all over my card front. Apologies if you can hear him. He's a bit of a yappy so-and-so, and I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. He just doesn't want to settle. My daughter's been off sick the last couple of days, so she hasn't been into the office, which means he hasn't been into the office. I think he's just being a bit antisocial. Right, so I'm just going to put this on here. And then, so that's my whole image that I'm going to stamp all over the front there. And I'll need it again for the tag. Now these, and you'll find this with quite a few of the photopolymer stamps, where they've got numerous images on. These are not, this one's not too bad. In fact, none of these are too bad, but you can sometimes find that they're a little bit flimsy because it's quite thin here. And the trick to make sure that you've got it in the right place is just to simply place it, or just let it drop onto your grid paper or your work surface, and then pick the stamp up with your block, and then you know it's 9 times out of 10 in the right place. So I need that one, and I need that one as well. And is there something else? That's that one. That's, oh, I think that's it. Well, we'll soon find out, I guess. So that one can go on that block, and that one can go on that block. So those two are going to be stamped in the Parakeet Party, so we're going to put those there. And then these two are going to be stamped in the Sweet Sorbet. Let's start with this. Now with the lined images, even on photopolymers, you don't need to worry too much about having something underneath. But on the solid images, you do. So today I took some large foam pads with me. When I'm just by myself, I just tend to use a small Stampin' Pierce mat, which works just as well. So I'm going to ink up my. Actually, you know what? I am going to just simply put it on here. So I don't really want the stems. I'm just simply going to just stamp this all over. Like this. I'm not too worried if it goes slightly onto the back. I just need to make sure that it's sort of got quite a good coverage on this front, which, you know what, I might after all use that. It just means that I'm going to end up with some of it on here, but hey, that's better. So I'll just prove myself wrong. And then I'm going to put that one on there, and I'm just going to put a little bit on there. Okay, so that's my front. Yeah, and I'm going to leave it like that because my tag's going to go in the middle, so I'm not too worried about that. So then I'm going to bring in my tag because I may as well stamp all of these in one go, and then I'm not. So where's my tag gone? Here we go. So there's my tag. Stamp on this. Kind of want it as much as possible on here, like so, like that. And I'm also going to stamp on the inside of my card. I'm really going for it today with all this stamping. Like that. And I'm going to do my envelope as well whilst I remember. I'll go that way, I think, just to be different. Right, so that's those. So I've used that one. I don't need to worry about that now. Now I'm going to go back and start filling in. I don't need to fill in these images because I just want those as a background. But I do need to stamp these images. And as I said, some of the cards I stamped off first, which means basically you just use some scratch paper to stamp on first, and then you then stamp the actual piece that you want. But this one I'm not going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that slightly, just so that I can see it's a little bit better. And the trick on this one is to line up that little white piece, that little bit in the middle there, which is the centre of the flower. So if you can line that up with the hole that's on the stamp, you do really, you know, I am going to stand up. It's easier to do this standing up. Sorry if my voice becomes very boomy. And you just move it around till you've got it where you think it should be. So I'm going to go for it there. Like that. So that's my first full-blooded one. Now I'm not going to re-ink, so I'm just going to use it again to stamp the inside of my card. Like that. So it's a lot lighter. And then I've also got my envelope to do, and again I'm just going to go for it with the full-blooded. And it's supposed to give like a watercoloured effect, so I'm not too bothered that I haven't actually managed to match it up completely. I know some people will be have to re-stamp it, but quite frankly, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to let it go as it is. Right. So now I'm going to go to the Parakeet Party. So that one was the one that I had stamped full-blooded. The trick on this one, if you can see, there's like two little bits that kind of look like tulips. There's like two there and there's one there. And these are the bottom of or the top of the stems where it meets the flowers. So that's where they go. So if you line them up, then everything else should follow. And again, I'm doing this from the side, so who knows? Just going for it. That's not too bad. So I can now stamp this. It's already been stamped once, so it's going to be a lot lighter, which is fine. Like that. So that's very faint, very subtle, so that's okay with me, for me. And then again, this time we're going that way. Like that. Oh, spot on. So that's that. Then the only thing I've got left then is to stamp these leaves, which is the one that looks like this, except it goes that way. So again, full on for this one. Like so. This one's going to have it stamped off, so it will be a lot fainter. And then this one's going to be full-blooded again, but I've only got those two bits of leaf, so I'm not going to go too mad. the nice thing about having the photopolymers, you can literally just see where the ink is. So you can just tap your stamp onto the ink and just cover the particular bits that you want. That's it. Right. Okay. So that's the stamping done. No colouring by hand for me this time. Yay! So that's going to be going on the inside of my card. So I just need some glue. And I can put that in. The end has gone a bit yucky. And just a little bead all around the edges and a bit of a squiggle in the middle. That's all that's needed. Like that. Now this time, rather than using the paper, I'm going to put that on there like that and have that on. Or I could cut the paper. There's also, I mean, there's so many things you could do with this just to change it up. Just simply get your trimmer out and just start playing with it. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to put some, actually, you know what, I might just trim that down slightly. I might take a centimetre off top and bottom. So I'm just lining it up on the left-hand side here. And then don't forget, you want to use the darker colour blade for the for cutting, and then the lighter colour grey is for scoring. So that's what I'm going to do, and I think I might put it straight this time. So I've got a slightly larger border showing on this. I mean, I could also cut a piece here that will go on there to then put that on. It's a little bit different, or you could still put it underneath, because then you've got so you've got a stamped piece, you've got your paper, then you've got your vellum, and then you can add that. I could be sitting here playing this for hours, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I like to have something there. It makes it a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. These Facebook Lives, sadly, are not that interactive. So, because I can't always see the comments that anyone's making. Otherwise, I would say, you know, vote for whichever you prefer. Right, that's that. That's going to go on here. Now, remember, as I was saying, if you put all your glue dots sort of here, you are going to see them. So if you just put a couple in the middle there, it works much better, in that it will be hidden by the tag, so I don't need to worry about any of that. So that's what I'm going to do. And you hear me ferreting around. Right, there's my glue dots right in front of my eyes. And you can do this one of two ways. The easiest way that I've found is just to simply take whatever it is that you want to stick on and press it onto the glue dots, and that way you will then pick it up. And I don't actually need more than two, so I'm just going to put those on like that. So that's that. This is going to go on at an angle. I could go that way. Yeah, I think I might go that way this time. So I need some dimensionals, which are here. See, I'm getting better. You may find sometimes that your vellum starts to, for some reason, curl up. Don't worry about it. If you really want to, you could use another glue dot just to hold down that corner and then put an embellishment on it. I know that you can get, well, they say that they're clear, but I've never yet found them to be clear. So some glue dots or other shapes that are supposed to be there for fixing vellum, but as I said, I never find that they work that well. So I'm going to tie a bow. In all the years of being a demonstrator, you think I'll be able to tie a bow straight off. I still have to think about it. And I find if you hold the knot and pull the long ties, you can sometimes get them just to hang slightly better. The other option is just to hold the two bow bits as well and pull. But then you're in danger of actually tightening a knot, which you don't necessarily want to do. It does help to take that off. Oops. Those dimensional backings get everywhere. So I've frayed, actually I'm going to make that one a bit shorter, I think, and then fray it. So that's that, and it's just you can just pull it and fray it. That's that one. And that's that one. And you can go mad. I mean, you can give it a really large, long fringe, or you can have it as a short fringe. It's really up to you. Or obviously you just leave it as it is and don't worry about having a fringe. You just... I'm going to put that on here. So I'm going to use another glue dot. Now this is the bond time that you kind of need to just pick it up off the roll and just roll it in your fingers. Make like a little ball, she says, and she's actually just gone, oh, there it is, lost it. And then just touch it to the back of your bow and then fix that to your front. And then I need to do a sentiment and then we're done. Wow. Hey, how good is that? Right, what sentiment should we go for? Sending happy thoughts for happy birthday, kindness matters, thank you. Now these, as you may see, say that they're 85%. So what you see here is 85% of the actual size. So don't be surprised when you open it up and find that actually, oh, it's a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. I'm always in need of thank you cards, so let's just do thank you. And again, you could do different colours. I quite like the basic, the black. I'm just going to, I've got some scrap here. I'm just going to stamp it in black on that. There we go. I just think it stands out a bit better. It's a pretty font as well. Yeah, stamp set. And I like how it's mixed. So we have some that's sort of curly, and then we have more of your capitals, block words. So you have a nice, and then you have a mixture. So I like that. And then when it comes to cutting out, fussy cutting it, just need your pair of paper snips. you don't need to be too precious about it. You don't have to be accurate. You can just sort of make it square if you want to, or you can curl it around various bits. It's really up to you how much you want to fussy cut it. So I'm just going to curl it around various bits. So I'll curl it around the K, and I think I'll curl it around the top of the T, and then maybe the bottom of the T. Kind of curl it, and maybe the Y, like that. And then maybe around the U. U as in the letter U rather than the word U. That's that. And that will go. See, it stands the black. I think the black stands out a bit better on that. And I need some mini dimensionals this time. And in fact, what I might do is, rather than use the mini dimensionals, I'm just going to cut a strip off the edge. Because you do, after all, have to use all of the pack. I'll put that on the back of that, like so. Put that on, and then I guess we probably, no, I put that on straight. No, I will put it on that way. We need to put some bling on. I've got 2 packs in here, or what was 2 packs. So let's see. This is what I cut up so that people who had it in the kits in the post are able to have a selection. I think I'm going to use pale for there, and then just add a few extra ones. And really, you can put them wherever you want to. Keeping in mind, I always like to have odd numbers. I've got 4 on there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. That one slipped a bit out, but I will put it up here. There we go. And that's it. So that is my card for this afternoon. Let's see if I can clear some of this mess out the way. Of course, there's always bits everywhere. So, as I said, don't forget Sale-A-Bration's still on. Fantastic joining offer. You get to choose £170 worth of product and pay £99. And then it's entirely up to you what you want to do. You can just become your own purchase just for yourself and get the discount, or if you want to hold classes, or if you have family that craft, then obviously they can buy product through you, and it's the one way of making your minimum. Or if you want to go mad and have the mini cut and emboss machine, then it's £170 worth plus that machine plus 425. So anyway, without further ado, these are the cards for today then. You can order your Card A Cuppa kits now for March. And I will be back next week with some stamping and creating. So hope you've enjoyed today, and please feel free to leave a comment or message, and I promise I do read them, and I will get back to you. So take care, and I'll speak to you again next week. Bye.